Yeah.
Good to see you, our friend. How are we doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Oh, right on.
That's one of the things about like I did that rolling exercise today.
Oh yeah,
So, so you can't help but kind of like, you know, think you're doing great. How's that?
I love it.
Right.
Frank loves that. He
There you
still
go.
talks about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Moving around, get the energy going.
it does. It's one of the things I noticed is when I was growing up, the idea that you would actually sit. It didn't occur. I mean, maybe meals, but other than that, the answer
Yeah.
was no. You were always moving, and
Yeah.
somewhere along the line that changed. I think sitting in school was the ones that started it.
Mm.
6 or 8 hours sitting at a desk, and of course we got beat for being rambunctious because we weren't designed to sit in a seat for 8 hours.
Yeah.
No, we got to train the workworse, right?
And then
That's exactly right.
yeah. And then they created Ritalin to make us sit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're trying to back out of that. So
We got a
yeah.
solution for everything, right? Big pharma.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's really true. You learned all these programs for a world that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I like how you just said that.
huh?
I like how you said that in the present tense.
Yeah, because I had a client the other day and we were talking, and they were talking about their child, and I said, "Look, you're trying to deliver them into a world that didn't exist when you were a child of that age." So all your training, all the music, all the dancing, all the everything you learn to survive and whatever move on may or may not have any consequence like when they start being on their own.
Yep.
And so that's one of the big fallacies of like training your dragon or training your child, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
Right.
them. So you think about what like people complain about their teenagers or children. They do this or they're always on their phones. Well, maybe in 10 years from now that is normal behavior or consequential in their well-being.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like, because we don't know that, right?
yeah, yeah, we don't.
We just assume the way we grew up is the way everyone else should grow up.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And and you notice that they don't listen to your music or basically listen to you anymore. So
Although when I do see a kid like a teenager listening to like music from the 70s, I applaud their parents for raising them right.
yeah, yeah.
There you
Well,
go.
I feel the same way,
Yeah.
mainly because you could, let's say there was a dearth of spirituality in the 70s. I mean,
Yeah.
we can throw that out there. But the music took the form of literally Zen koans. You
Yeah.
know, there was language in every song that came out that might have given you some spiritual significance, especially if you were kind of altered in your thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. A
Yeah.
state of receptivity, we'll call it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Some call it LSD.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because a lot of lyrics, come through people that have a very spiritual significance, even if they don't understand what they're putting on paper. Have you noticed that?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's like a big thing I've noticed in music as I started on my journey. I was like, oh my God.
yeah.
I'm seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, people. When I do interviews, I have a tendency to throw in music from the '60s and '70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason is there were significant sayings in there that didn't come from Suzuki or come from gurus or they were band members,
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
And unfortunately, people today, or fortunately, some of the young ones are starting to realize, hey, there's some pretty interesting information there, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I
That's
like
great.
that. So I tend to
Yeah.
reference all kinds of 60s and 70s music. And I probably went to a couple of hundred concerts. I was a photographer,
Oh,
and
cool.
I would get to be backstage with Jimi Hendrix,
Holy shit.
Janis Joplin. I mean, Led Zeppelin like a dozen times. I mean, Grace Slick, all of them. I was on stage, but just in the periphery because I was taking photos.
Oh, wow.
And, for some reason, I kind of fell into that, and I did that for several years. And it was a crazy time. You
I
know?
bet. How
Yeah,
cool.
it seems like
Yeah.
you fell into a lot of stuff,
Yeah,
you know.
right.
Hence why
Well,
you're on the
I
show.
tell people I've been busy in life.
Yeah, it seems out. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Randy, thank you for taking the time today. We know it's late on your end. Are you good to go about hour
Oh
15,
yeah,
hour
yeah. No,
20? Like,
I'm great. I've been.
okay,
All right.
we just want to make
Yeah,
sure we're respecting your time. We know it's late on your end.
yeah, he rolled on the ground enough today, so
Yeah, he's got his energy
he's got his
Yeah.
energy.
energy
I've
high.
been- No, I had a great meal, and
Good.
I study all the time. That's kind of what I do now.
Yeah.
I
And
love that.
What are you
you know,
studying right now?
Great question.
oh my goodness. Um, I say the age of gurus is over.
Yeah.
Okay. And part of it is what we said earlier is that their knowledge may have been prescient or have potential for you,
Hmm.
but we keep having to reach back like 1,000 years or 2,000 years or Patanjali or Buddha or somebody,
Yeah.
and you come back into this reality and look around, and none of those guys are here. So
Yeah.
so at some point you run out of your programming.
Yeah.
Okay. At that point, you have to start exploring. Or, I mean, you don't, but it would be natural to go, well, can I get this body to do something? And that's the thing. You've given a body that is like what we call an excellent test subject. Right. I mean, you can do all kinds of things to it, but one of the things is energetically, you can start doing things like, well, I need to increase my metabolism.
Yeah.
I need to decrease my cortisol. I need to increase my thyroid function or something and see if I can become interactive. And that's the ultimate outcome of the book.
Yeah.
It's introducing you in a way that allows you to then start paying attention, awareness to actually how this thing works.
Yeah.
Because nobody out there at this time I can find that actually explores it to any great depth of basically self-programming.
Yeah.
So, so self-programming is very simple. See like how many steps you can do or what kind of food works for you or whatever. But don't just stop there, then start going, well, I need to experiment with that a little bit.
Yeah. So you're basically saying we should all be like our own scientists with our own bodies, rather
Yes,
than
yes,
relying on old information that we, like you said, go back to Buddha, Jesus, Patanjali, all these other people. They were exploring with that stuff, and we seem to not go there ourselves.
right. Yeah,
We take it, yeah,
Well, and also go beyond it. Once you learn
yeah,
though,
right. Yeah,
what's new? What
yeah,
like you know what I mean?
yeah.
What's
That was
something you
the thing
didn't
I
know?
ran into when I realized that uh, there's a whole interactive universe. Okay.
yeah,
And we only get glimpses of it with things like affirmations and the code word manifestations and all these other stations that are out there.
Yep,
I could
yep.
list a bunch of them. But anyway, the idea is that those are where people start experimenting.
yeah,
Okay. Well, what if I say this for, 40 days or 10 years or whatever?
Hmm.
And and of course the answer is things you say have an impact, and that's why mantra yoga, they call it sound current or nod yoga, is you're saying words that vibrate the body. Well, now we're into vibration and frequency,
yeah,
but all that was available in the 60s and 70s with the hippies and the yoga, all that stuff. But again, it's like, well, if there's frequencies like music, why
Mhm.
wouldn't I explore what it does to me?
Yeah.
And all you got to do is say, do I feel more energetic afterwards, or do I feel less energetic? So it's a really good way to start, like noticing your interactions with other people even. You talk to them, and when you step away, do you feel better or less?
Yeah.
But then we start doing it to ourselves. I ate that food, or I said these things, or took this action, and it's action sequence consequence.
Yeah.
And so we just follow that program.
Yeah.
So I'll be reading something and going along, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, let me try that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I use applied kinesiology and what I call the finger. You just poke on yourself because all thinking requires a kinesiological action. Otherwise, it doesn't register. The mind just keeps going.
Yeah. It
So,
does give birth to it. Yeah.
I love you, and then I hug you is a whole different game than I love you. You see?
Yeah. I see what you
So
I didn't
that's
know that about the mind. That's cool. The can you like the touch after the saying it kind of
yeah.
solidifies it.
Yes, yes. That basic form of is called communication.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we can talk but not communicate. But as soon as there's some kinetic action going on with it, and of course, powerful people do it with their voice.
Yeah.
Mm.
So they can touch you with their voice. We
Mhm.
call that inspirational, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We
but
call
but they are using it. They are using a kinetic interface. So,
Yeah, it's like the old DJ of yesterday w was mesmerizing by they had this certain type of tone in their voice, and you would sit there and listen, even if they weren't saying anything profound.
The guys on the radio.
There was just something about their voice, like they had that radio voice, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like
yeah,
you
Uh,
can just
yeah.
tell
Sports
anything. Yeah,
announcers
yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. My
I
favorite
was,
song, I read a shopping list,
yeah.
but did it in like, today we're buying toilet paper.
Yeah. Yeah,
Make
Everybody's like,
anything
what,
sound good.
it's
what?
something
Something
captivating about
profound is coming up.
it.
I need to
Yeah.
get some of that.
That's what the commercials do for us, right? They
Yep.
they mesmerize us to go buy the toilet paper.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Two of the pitfalls today is hypnotism and mesmerism.
yeah,
Right. Oh, third one, glamorization. There's
yeah.
one
Mm.
of those.
Which is almost a form of hypnotism, right?
Yep.
Being,
Yeah, no, it is.
yeah,
Yeah. And when you're able to s- actually notice it as opposed to participating, you
yeah,
know,
I would
it's
like to mention that on the show today because we're living in such a time right now where we are really glamorizing so much poor behavior, whether that's between relationships, between male and females, spouses, like all sorts of things. Everything people are seeing on social media, television shows, these stupid like lifestyle shows or reality TV. It, you watch it and you're like, how do these people even exist? And it's done on purpose to dumb us down,
yeah,
you know? And we do
yeah,
glamorize and highlight people that I don't want to say should not be, but really are like these wacky people, and people feel like they need to do or have that behavior or act that way to catch somebody's attention or to get a the
well,
recognition of their own.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Awareness and attention. I'll figure out the third one of that AA thing in a minute, but AA awareness and uh, one of the things about being older, and if you retain your memory, you kind of remember things different than where they are today. So, one of the things I noticed is during the 60s, like in high school, to be noticed meant you were clean,
Mm.
right? You were semi well groomed
Okay.
to the station you were in. In other words, if you were poor or whatever, you were still clean and you still kind of presented yourself as best you could.
Yeah.
And somehow that flipped, and now people present themselves as the worst people. And then we go, well, maybe they're not presenting themselves as the worst people. They're picking the worst people to influence us. Because
That's
I know people that still dress well, they try to present themselves well, they try to be clean and how they interact but all we get is like the outliers, the outside of the curve, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder
And
if that's just
since
Western culture.
is what?
I wonder if that's just the Western culture or if
Well,
that's everywhere.
I don't know because one of the things that happened is we stopped having any sartorial elegance about us. How's that?
yeah.
We we stopped looking good. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that people want to say that's sexist or misogynist, whatever. But I remember going to New York City just to be able to see people walk down the street that were so well dressed,
Yeah.
so well groomed, and it's the whole concept of beauty. And like in the Navajo Nation, they have a whole thing about beauty. They call it a beauty way ceremony, actually. To walk in beauty, to see beauty, to live in beauty, it goes on and on and on. But somehow we've lost any concepts of beauty as something recognizable from the last 500 years, we'll call it. Look at architecture,
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
Look at clothes. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
somehow it became a look at me thing instead of here I am. There's a
Yeah.
big difference,
Yeah,
right?
there is.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
but
'cause-
that's my opinion of it.
yeah, but there is something about like when I go to Europe and you walk into some of these cathedrals or any given church on any corner, you start to look at the architecture and realize some of these people that were building this knew they weren't going to be alive for the finish of it, but they put
Oh
so
yeah,
much effort into it. Now it's like we can erect a building in New York City in 2 years.
Mhm.
Like it's
oh yeah,
crazy and it's really big, but it looks like it was erected in 2 years at the same
Mhm.
time.
yeah,
And then obviously David Hawkins talked about that, like when he would
yes,
measure the kinetic energy there in the field of energy, and you could tell that the people put their heart and soul into it. It wasn't
yeah,
due to make it to the end to make some type of profit from it. They
yeah.
knew it was going to be this
Yeah.
massive um, gift to the earth, if you will.
It's true. I used to build different things all over the country,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but people would say, "Well, you're proud. You have pride in what you're doing." And the answer was no. I found a certain joy in being able to express myself in something that would be beautiful for other people to see. And that's different. Okay. So so I'm not fond of all the hardware in the faces and the tattoos as a form of beauty. I'm sure it's a form of beauty to somebody, but it's not to me. And of course, now we come down, I have a individual choice in the matter.
yeah,
But like the old cathedral builders and stuff, they had a sense of joy they were expressing at even being able to do that. They
yeah,
felt that if I could create some, I think some of the early dress designers, Schiaparelli and I don't know who all, they had that same thing. Mackie when they were building, making dresses because they wanted the women to look beautiful in them.
yeah.
Okay.
And,
And
and it was all about the
sweatpants said the aesthetic of that is not
yeah.
elevated, we'll say. I know these are all opinions everybody don't go crazy over, but it's just my idea of things.
Yeah, you're onto something.
So,
I think when people start to get into the monetary value of connection of things, when you put that in the forefront, you try to take shortcuts.
yeah,
Or if
yeah,
you and then you can't achieve it, so then you become like you become weak in your craft.
yes, yes,
And
yes,
yeah, and that's really I think people are weakening their craft, not realizing the craft is what strengthens you. And the outcome will be the outcome monetarily, whatever will happen. But I think the early people weren't thinking of that.
right.
You know,
No,
they were just lost in the moment while
no.
they were making the dress
Yeah,
or the cathedral or a chair for that matter of fact. Yeah.
yeah. You mentioned the cathedrals and stuff. Look what passes for a church building in America now.
Yeah, now they do it in
It's
shopping
crazy.
malls.
Yeah.
You go to
Yeah,
a shopping center
Mega
and you
churches.
see a church in a
yeah.
shopping center. Like it's
Mm.
And
got a flat roof.
Yeah.
Like it's
when
like,
you go to the casino in Monaco, and you look at that, and then you come here and you look at the casinos on Indian reservations, they're in a big tent.
yeah, yeah,
And so somehow that's acceptable on both sides, but I tell you what it boils down to. One of my yoga teachers one time said, you don't understand what your environment does to you." Okay. He said, and Hawkins too, you should live in a beautiful space. Okay. The old thing said blessed or sacred space, but we'll just go with beautiful.
Mm.
And I said, okay, how's this work? And he goes, so you take your room, paint the walls white, move a mattress or a pad in and sleep on that. And he said, for the first 30 days, you just wake up. And when you wake up, you look and see where your eye goes, right? It'll always go to a certain spot. And he said, then go outside and go to the flea market or shopping or whatever and find something you find beautiful and place in that place. Okay. And he said, then go back to sleep. And he said, the next month, he said, you wake up and see where your eye goes first. Remember a flower, a pot, something that means a photo, painting. He said, let's see where your eye goes next. And he goes, and go buy something beautiful to put there. Okay. So I decided to try it. I lived in an ashram, but I had my own room and I started doing this. And after about 6 months, I noticed that people weren't congregating in the living room, they were congregating in my room. Yeah.
yeah,
Because just to sit there and look around, there were beautiful things to look at. And
yeah,
uh, and it
and
doesn't have to be in a museum. So that's something people can do is
yeah.
surround yourself with beauty. That's
That's a great thing to do because that's something you just did in a basic room,
Hmm.
yeah,
and
yeah,
you outfitted it as each month came about. You started outfitting it.
yeah.
You know?
Mhm. And the Japanese have, of course, I can't remember the names, but they had a niche in the wall, right? And they would put one flower in a vase in that niche, and that's what they would notice. Their eye would go to that, right?
Yeah,
And that was their meditation. That was their um,
yeah,
daily practice
yeah.
to find beauty or see beauty. So,
Yeah, it's kind of like with the Shinto.
yeah.
I have one. I have a pretty big Shinto in my house. A photo
Eight
of it. Yeah,
feet.
it's pretty big.
A
And
what?
a Shinto. I had this guy, Peter Lick. He does these photographies, and he took this right outside. I forgot what town it was. I don't know if it was Okinawa or one of them, where he took a picture of a Shinto over water, and it just so happened the clouds came down. These two birds were sitting on it. But
Mhm.
it's like I have this in my living room right when you walk in, and every time people come in, they just stare at it. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that's like, what is that? I'm like, that's the purpose of that.
Yeah.
And that's why I purchased it. I was sitting there and I was in Maui. I went into one of his
Exhibit.
studios and I saw that and I sat down and I'm like, I want that. And it was funny because the guy was trying to hard sell me. I'm like, dude, I already want it. You know, you don't need to sell me
You
on
don't
it.
need to sell.
Yeah, sell me on it. He goes, well, let me explain what it does. I'm like, all right, you could do that now. Uh,
No,
yeah,
that's why we don't really got to look far for inspiration.
no,
That's people that need to be inspired or motivated, like next,
yeah,
because it's all over the place. One of the things about seeing beauty, we don't find so much in our architecture anymore. Like in DC, there's beautiful buildings.
yeah,
Okay, there's ugly buildings, but there's beautiful buildings.
Of course.
But DC is interesting. Remember, I'm doing self-exploration.
yeah.
Yep.
So one day it occurred to me, well, I'm projective of my thoughts. Let me see how this works. So it's in Georgetown. I walked down one block, and when I walked down the block, I went, "Whoa, don't you own a mirror? Like, who dressed you? Like, where did you get your shoes? Like, how come you don't?" Right? I'm just all negatives, right? Nobody looked at me. Nobody talked to me, nothing, just step around.
Yeah.
I cross the street and come back up the other side. Every person only had one thought. I looked at them and said, "You're beautiful."
Yeah.
And, I mean, people said hello, they smiled at me and everything. It had nothing to do with whether they were beautiful or not. It had to
Right.
do with how you interacted with them at a thought level.
Yeah.
And
And
so
that's
people,
applicable to everything.
Yeah.
yeah, so people don't realize it's like if I can project that you are something beautiful, it takes me out of judgment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because beauty becomes an observation. But as soon as I notice your clothes or how tall or short or whatever, that is judgment. And
Yeah.
so we used to say, go out of judgment. Right?
Yeah. I remember Wayne Dyer years ago. He told a story just like that, where he was sitting on the beach in Florida, and there was a couple walking down the beach, and they recognized him, like, oh my God, like we live in Virginia, and we're thinking about moving down here. It's like, how are the people down here? He's like, well, how are the people in Virginia? It's like, oh, they're really pleasant, they're friendly. It's like, well, they're going to be the same here. And
Right.
a month later, it's like, moving from Jersey, how is it? I can't stand it. It's like, oh, you're not going to stand it here either, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was the crux of it was it's most people aren't conscious of how they're viewing the outside world and even why they look at it that way. Why is that ugly?
Oh, yeah.
You might not
Yeah.
know why it's ugly because they were just fed that information. But when you consciously, like you said, walk down the street and smile and say, I love you, or just gesture to people, the
Yeah.
response is amazing.
Mhm.
It,
Yeah.
but you have to be conscious of it. No, I think if you're more conscious of it over time, it becomes who you are. So then
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. If you can go out of judgment, you have done a great thing in your life.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And I laugh because if your energy field gets big enough, like I look at somebody, I go, wow, you have beautiful hair. And they'll go, and I mean, they're 10 or 20 feet away, right?
Yeah.
So they're responding. And so if that's true, I should be able to make this thing respond to me in a way that benefits me and everybody else.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
what we do.
yeah. It's like we finally it was almost like if someone found a car and they were just using it as a fort. And then one day someone found this thing called a key and turned it and the
Yeah,
engine started like, what's going on? And then they
yeah,
put it into drive and it started moving. I think that's kind of where we are as humans with our bodies.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
We're
Well,
starting to discover
with
some
our whole thing, with
yeah,
our body or brain or mind is,
yeah,
the idea that I introduced the idea of intellectual or information hygiene.
yeah,
Okay. And like when you brought up all the videos and all the insanity that's out there and Summer House or all these different below decks and all the drama that goes on in these movies,
Yeah.
like I couldn't sustain that level of drama.
Mm.
I mean, I'm not built for it, we'll say.
yeah,
But if you apply information hygiene, it's a great concept. Okay. Where you would start, when those things come up, you would like, you know, get rid of them.
yeah.
I mean, my girlfriend makes fun of me because sometimes in movies I'll go like this.
Just block it out completely.
And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I go, "I don't want to see that."
I want no part
Yeah,
of this.
yeah, because
Yeah.
you don't have to get rid of it later, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, so we have information hygiene, which everybody should start practicing. That information that's offensive to you or cause you to come down. And the other one is energy hygiene. Don't be around people, places, and things. Those are the categories of things that deplete you. It's just that simple, right?
yeah,
And how do you do that? Whatever way works for you. By just starting on that idea, you'd be surprised how much you realize that you have been doing this because of all of it,
Yeah.
and then the shoulders come down.
yeah.
So
Which
I
it's a
like
great,
that.
yeah, it's a great, what you just brought up was a great segue to come in and actually introduce your book, War Day.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
reading that is a guide right through what you're talking about right now. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. People say, "Why did you write the book?" the thing I noticed overall, it's wardaybook.com, by the way, for people that want to
Okay,
buy
well,
it.
Okay,
There's
all
my
right,
ad,
perfect.
wardaybook.com.
wait, should I have bought mine off of that, not on Amazon? Did
Oh,
Amazon
no,
get a portion
well,
of the
wardaybook.com will take you to either Amazon or
Okay.
to Books Buy, either one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right?
I was gonna say it was great. I got my copy in a day.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was perfect.
So,
that's
but
what
the idea of Warday was like I've had, I'm supposed to say just 10,000 or more clients. I've had probably five times that.
I.
But every one of them, almost all their problems can be solved by having more energy
Oh yeah,
and being able to, uh, what do you call it? Develop some sort of skill with it.
yeah,
So that's why, like in the martial arts and stuff, we talk about, when you hit somebody, that's energy transference.
yeah,
Okay? That's basic physics. When I love you, that's energy transfer. So now we're gone from the physical to the mental or emotional.
yeah,
If I'm really angry, I'm emotionally transferring energy to you, and your body will have to deal with it. And yeah, I'll give you a hint on people that have extra weight. The extra weight is an outcome. And so then we go, well, what's the outcome from? And they want to go, well, it's from, cortisol or
Stress.
something. And then we go, well, you have padding, protection, and insulation.
yeah,
So padding on a person, weight-wise, is a protection against physical blows. Okay. Protection is mental. I want to protect myself mentally. So if I have a lot of extra weight, I slow down how thought comes in and out of my uh, being. And then physical padding protection. Insulation is against, that's mental, by the way, which is relationships. Okay. Uh, Padding protection. Insulation is against emotional charges. So if you see kids growing up in a highly emotional environment, they're going to be bigger as a rule. And
yeah,
it's not like not muscle weight. It's the extra water and fat retention, and it's a form of protection. So everybody wants to, what do they call it, fat shaming and all this stuff. It's like, well, wait a minute. You want them to lose weight, Ozempic,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
right? But you don't want to fix the problem that allowed that to come into being. Well, war day is the same thing. It's like if I can get myself structurally balanced, mentally, physically, emotionally, all the others, if I have my own energy, I don't need it from other people. And if I'm balanced at it, I have the ability to look and pick and choose. I can decide whether I want to be upset about something or not just because the other person is projecting at me.
yeah,
I like that you brought up the weight aspect because that's something clearly America we struggle with. I forgot the statistic, but it's high, you know. I mean, as much as 60 to 70% of, Americans are now
Oh, yeah.
overweight and obese.
It I tell you what, it's
We all know someone affected by that.
well, like in Oklahoma, I'd say 70% of the people are overweight.
yeah,
Mhm.
I'd say 30 to 40% are obese.
Oh,
Okay.
well.
And what we say, well, they're holding 30 to 50 pounds. I mean, all ages.
mhm.
And it's easy for people to go, well, they need a diet or, I told somebody, anybody with a belly needs to buy War Day. Yeah, but it wasn't to cause them to lose weight. It was to deal with all the underlying things, and
Yeah,
the weight should go away then because you don't need it anymore.
yeah, it
Okay.
gets, yeah,
Yeah, I wrote a little short set of articles one time I taught in class called Non-Fat.
Mm.
And that's
wow,
what this comes out of. Because the idea is that you're not fat, you're responding to your environment. And so now we take away all the fat shaming and everything else and go, look, right? There's something going on here. And I'm sure diet and things like that are part of the issue. But the underlying issue is one of I need to protect myself, I need to pad against any future assaults, and I need to, protect myself in any way I can, and having extra weight on me satisfies all those equations.
Yeah.
So,
And that's it. A lot of people have there's a lot like fear and anxiety
yeah,
mm, seem to be, and I say seem to be because it's very difficult for me to know this, but seems to be on the rise based on the ability for people to talk about it now. And I do hear people talking about it almost like, I have anxiety or whatever, and they're using it as another shield rather than like, I can't do this because I have this. Where
right.
your book will, if you go down, and your book is a great book for coming into what I call self-inquiry. Like, why is this happening?
Mhm.
Because they're trying to change the outside world, and that's never worked.
Yeah.
It's
No, no.
how we deal with the outside world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why it's called, internal martial arts.
yeah,
The martial arts you study for 6 years is external. I want to fight and learn all these things, right? And then beyond that, if you make it beyond that, you start trying to figure out, well, maybe I could have some influence and on my own metabolism or my own brainwave activity. And
yeah,
of course, the brainwave activity we call meditation, right?
yeah,
So so, and I have a quote in the book about the more you think, the more you need to meditate because you're trying to balance that back out. And of course, what do all our movies and everything want you to do? They want you to be stressed. They want you to be tense.
On purpose.
And
A
it's
good
like,
consumer.
yeah.
yeah,
We
you,
need you to
Well,
consume
that
things.
I guess like that'd be good if you went to a horror movie and you put like a monitor on to see how your stress level goes, and if you go through and you're calm, it means you're doing well, right?
yeah,
So yeah, it's like, hey,
It's funny, Randy. Before this, the Frank and I just getting ready for our interview with you. I highlighted a few quotes, some things I wanted to
yeah,
throw at you today. And it's funny you brought up one of my favorites in the book, which the quote is, you said that was from one of your yoga teachers. Thinking won't give it. No
mm,
amount of thinking alone produces results. And this is so powerful because we are all trying to think our way out of our problems every day.
yes. The the reason I like that is because I was guilty of
Me too.
it.
yeah,
That's why I highlighted it.
Yeah. I thought if I just think about this, right?
I'll get it.
yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
tough.
yeah.
I'll figure it
If
out.
I think about it, I will find a solution. And that is another fallacy out there, right? So we say thinking won't give it. And then
no,
we're back to, but if you have a thought and apply kinetic action, then that is a whole different game.
Oh yeah,
Because
you touch on
now, now you're an action sequence consequence and the ability to evaluate positive and negative.
yeah,
There you go. One
yeah.
person asked me, how could I advance myself spiritually? And I go, get an account on Wall Street.
it. I'm sure they love that answer.
Yeah.
What?
And start stock trading. And
Yeah.
I was given a lecture, is out in California when I was a stockbroker at one point. But anyway,
Hell yeah,
I had
Randy.
a,
You've
a
lived like
bunch,
1,000 lives.
yeah, I had a bunch of people there, and I was giving a free lecture on it. But it came up because a lady who was in her probably 70s at the time goes, well, I was telling them that if you bought things that were stable but growing, you could sleep at night. Okay.
Mhm.
And so we used to say you could buy the Dow Jones, but that was it. Everything else was all out of bounds. And the lady goes, well, what if I want something more exciting? And I went, go buy you a bunch of options on Tesla, and tomorrow morning you'll be rich or you'll be broke, right? Now
Yeah.
that's all the excitement you can handle,
Oh
and
God.
because you'll wind up on that one afterwards. So the answer is don't do that,
Yeah, right.
right? Um, it's a quick test of intuition, but it's not the best test of it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
You hear people talk about intuition and gut feeling and remote viewing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's real simple, right? SpaceX closed at 150 today. What will it be tomorrow?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
and put your $10 down and see where you end up tomorrow. I mean, it's just that easy. And so what we say then is now you're in that action sequence consequence, right? So I don't recommend it. I recommend you go slow and just work on yourself to, be able to know what you need to do, like
So
have another bite of pie or not.
just for the audience, I'm sure many of the people listening and tuning into this episode are familiar with your work. They've watched you on
Yeah.
Gaia. They've watched you personally on your different channels. They read your stuff. What is your take on something like that? Like you can remote view. You're
Right.
great at it.
Right.
Would you ever apply that into something that was monetary, or have you ever applied that?
Yes. Yes. Uh, I do it with a sense of fun. Okay. Remember that joyfulness
I think
thing?
this is important,
Yeah.
yeah, for
Yeah.
people to get.
So there was, and the ability to recognize the truth. That's all that's about. All the remote viewing, all the intuition, all of it's just can you recognize the truth when it's presented to you? So remember they had that NBA championships,
Yeah.
and I said, "There's a little betting place here in DC," and I said, "I want to go there." And my girlfriend, why? And I said, "I just want to go." So we
So
go in there, and I'm looking around this thing, and they have a list of bets you can make, and one of them was you could bet on who would get the ball on the tip off, right?
Interesting.
For like
yeah,
San Antonio or the Knicks, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at that and I thought, that is the craziest bet I've ever heard of in my life. They have crazy ones out there. And
Yeah,
now
yeah.
Kalshi and there's another one, that you can bet on anything.
Yep.
And so I'm looking at that and it said the payout was like $56 on a $10 bet.
Geez.
And I looked at that and I go, San Antonio is going to get the ball. And I went, and my girlfriend's like, don't do it, don't do it. So, but it's the price of a ticket. Remember, you're buying into the emotion. Just
Yeah.
remember that. On any game you get in, you're buying into the emotion.
Yep.
So I go in there and I tell that lady, I want to bet $10 San Antonio gets the tip off. And she started laughing. And her boss started laughing because they go, that's the craziest bet with it. It paid $56, by the way. So,
Oh, gosh.
so are you the reason the Knicks won?
Yeah, right.
no, 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 no.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
there might have been some undue influence though on trying to switch it to the San Antonio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
I've been to one
yeah,
of
it might be,
those.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
to answer your question, sometimes I play what I call member options in the stock market.
Yeah. I was gonna
yeah.
say I got a buddy who does those.
Yeah. So the other day, let's see, what did I get? I got 14, 14 out of 17
Oh wow.
straight trades.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're actively still
Yeah, they were good for $5, $20.
Yeah.
But, but the rule is your energy field and existence extends for a minimum of 3 minutes forward.
okay.
And so all I was doing was following the 3 minutes. And I'd look at it and I'd look 3 minutes ahead. Remember remote viewing?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I'd hit the button. And then as soon as it pivoted, I'd hit the button. And I developed that routine out in California when I was a stockbroker, remember? But
Mhm.
it drove everybody crazy that I was hitting that many trades at exact turning points.
Of the psych, yeah,
So, so, so there's a secret. You don't need to listen to what we call all the noise. That's what most people listen to.
Yeah. The news.
Now we're into information hygiene. What do you listen to in your life? All the noise. You're looking for the signal. It's like turn right, turn left, go straight ahead. It's very simple, right? It's just that the noise gets in your head like, I should do this because, and there's no causality in it. That's one of the things that Hawkins said,
yeah.
you know, is you move away from causality. So the answer is yes, sometimes I play with it.
Well, good. It's
But
exciting.
the key is play, right? So
Yeah.
Now,
uh,
Got to have joy in it.
do you believe there's a universal design to get everyone to start listening to their own intuition based on, because right now a lot of people are being bombarded with information, and it's such
Mhm.
conflicting information. Well, years ago, it didn't seem conflicted. Someone put out a piece of information, whether it's true or not, we found out later on. But now you get people like, I don't even know who to believe anymore. And I'm like, well, it's time. Oh, yeah, I'm like, good.
Exactly.
But it to me, it's like, and I don't know, I'm just stretching maybe in the story form, but I'm like, I think this the universal design to get us to stop getting information from outside and getting it from within, because it's more localized to who we are individually, and then we
Yeah.
can share it with other people. But it doesn't mean, and because it's so, that's why there's a lot of anxiety. People that I don't know who to believe anymore. I'm like, you weren't supposed to really necessarily believe anyone's information.
No, no, no. No.
Now, at some point, someone says something, and there might be a relatable thing that heads me in a direction, but it's because it was a synchronistic movement. But it wasn't
Yes.
me; it was the individual person. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
someone could tell
Yeah.
me something true, and then
Yeah.
every other time they tell me something false. I'm like, oh shit, this person's losing it. It's like, no.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah, the, people put value on who said it.
yeah, rather than
And the answer is no, put value on the information if it has value to you.
yeah.
And it doesn't make any difference who said it. And here we go. Paul Simon, the words of the prophets are written on the
Subway walls, yeah,
walls, tenement halls, right? Tenement halls out or whatever. And it's like, it was true, right?
yeah,
In other words, you can find truth anywhere. That's what I teach people. So,
yeah.
but what you referred to is when I was a kid, I grew up on the Navajo reservation up by Page. The Page wasn't there yet.
Isn't
And,
that cool that he's got that
yeah,
background
we,
here
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Arizona for everyone listening?
He's got
we
it all
lived in just a
mapped
bunch
out.
of trailers and
Yep.
this and the other. But the kids would they just turn us out the door and out in the desert you went. And now here's a question: where do you go? Well, you just kind of wander around. Well, that's normal in life,
Yeah,
right? Not to be like, I got to go to work, I got to go here, I got to, right. And then if we needed water, we would go looking for water, or if and we always found it. That was the other thing, right? There wasn't any kind of like doubt in it. And so
Powerful.
yeah,
in
yeah,
Native American language, that was normal.
yeah,
In other words, you would find what you were looking for because you knew it was already there for you.
yeah.
Makes sense? Yeah.
Hell
It
yeah.
does. There's a comedian, Bill Burr. I don't know if you've heard of
Yeah.
him,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's funny because when he grew up, and I think him and I are close in age. We just ran out the front door every morning. That was willing, unless it was school time, without anything, without
Yeah.
a worry. And food would show up and later on you would see how the logic or the things would show up, but you didn't plan it. But then he's like, I challenge anyone as an adult now to leave your phone at home and see how far out the door you get before you start to go into sheer panic. And it's funny
Yeah.
because we never did that. And I grew up in an era like that too. Like we just ran out the door.
Yeah.
You had to be home by a certain time. That was the only criteria my parents gave me.
Yeah. The same way. Yeah.
Yeah, and we found the money to buy the pizza or whatever we wanted, or to buy the
Yeah.
Snickers bar or the baseball cards, and
Yeah.
it just showed up. But here we are trying to conduct our way to us. The only way to get money is we have to do this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not really how it works. And
Well,
I go back to my
I,
childhood, like it doesn't work that way. Mm.
right. And I prefer that method because I grew up doing the same thing.
Yeah,
They had 25-cent movies on Saturdays.
yeah,
Now, I didn't have any money. I would walk from my house to the movie place, theater, was about 6, 7 blocks.
yeah,
And I would walk by every parking meter,
yeah.
right?
Or a
And
telephone
I would
booth, right?
pick up enough money.
Yeah,
And I always went to the movie on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And so when I started out, I was going to the movie, the money appeared. You see?
yeah. That's
So
why you never walked looking up. You always look down in case you find a quarter on the floor, right? You can't find the
I,
quarter.
I still pick up pennies, by the way.
Hell
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
It is funny how that happens. It still happens to everyone, but their story that attaching to it is misleading to themselves. And I
yeah,
think that's how all doctrine started in religion. Like one
yeah,
day, some guy had a great day, and like, why did I have a great day? And they woke up. I'm like, well, I had a bowl of Wheaties, and then I went over here. Next thing you know, you have a religion where it starts out in the morning, you're eating Wheaties, but no one ever
yeah,
gets to that place because it had nothing to do with the Wheaties. Although, it was just something you did, and it was the energy leading you down this path, and you're being drawn to it. Like you,
yeah,
obviously, I want to go see the movie, and you draw, and you probably walked a certain way, and all of a sudden the money was there.
yeah,
Time
yeah.
you got there, yeah,
Yeah. It's really funny. Today they call that going with the flow. I call it picking up pennies where you find them.
yeah, it's true.
So
Yeah,
yeah, there's just too many instances where that is available to you.
yeah,
That's what I tell people.
yep.
I have too many stories we could go all night, but one guy wanted to go to Santa Fe from San Antonio, and I said, I'll give you a ride. And because I want to go up there too. And when he got in the truck, he opened the door and he looked at me, and I was sitting there like this, eyes closed. And he was intuitive. He goes, "Do we make it?" And I go, "Yes." I was looking at the map. Remember, you look out ahead, right? And I said, "But it looks like there's a problem getting back." Yes. It's like 500 miles, and he's like, he got in the car and away we went.
Yeah,
On the way back, we were driving back roads, and I was running out of gas, and we didn't have much money either at that time. And so we didn't have money and we didn't have gas. And I'm like, I hope we make it to one of the truck stops. Maybe I can talk to somebody or something. And when we got there, all of a sudden it occurred to me, I said, here's $5. Go buy the third ticket in the row on the lottery tickets in there and get the money and pay for the gas and come back. He went in there, got $40, paid for the gas, turned around, come back, and we put gas in the car. I've done it twice in my life, right? So
yeah,
yeah. Now I'm not special. It occurred to me. Do you see?
yeah.
So things that occur to you, generally you should go ahead and jump as well, because so you're going to find out that you can know the truth about things. Right.
And I think when you have enough experiences of that,
Yeah.
you start to
Trust.
trust it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
great story with my wife. We were,
Yeah.
my wife, she's a planner, and we were heading to Maui, and so she did all the planning for it. Because I'm
Right.
like go with the flow type of guy, and it drives her nuts sometimes. So she felt the need for me to have to be involved in the planning. So she's like, I want to go to this restaurant called Sensei. It's a sushi restaurant in Maui. I'm like, all right. And she put me in charge of making the reservations. We're literally 30,000 feet in the air. And she's like, so what day are we doing? I'm like, oh shit, I didn't make.
Yeah.
To make a long story short, she got kind of upset, but she didn't want to put it towards me. And she found another sushi place. We go there, and it was kind of like a divey place. And you could
Yeah.
tell like her energy just falling apart. And then she's like, can I see the wine list? And the guy's like, well, we don't serve alcohol here. And she almost fainted. So I just said, honey, get in the car. She's like, why? We're going to Sensei.
Yeah.
And she's like, we don't have reservations. I don't care. I can't stand to see you this way. We pull up there. I pull up front. I says, get out of the car. I'm going to find a parking spot. So she walks in, and right when I was pulling to the parking lot, the first car right near the door, oh, the guy was backing out, and I pulled in there. When I got there, she was sitting at the best seat in the house.
I love
Yeah.
it.
What was
Yeah.
funny is when we left, I said, so you don't need to worry. She's like, I could have done next time, just make the damn reservation. level,
Save me the
the level of stress.
Yeah.
Uh,
People want to know how this works.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Parking spaces is the perfect place. Forget the stock market.
Yeah,
Is
right.
will there be a parking space there? And by
Yeah,
the way, the term I use is called timing under heaven.
yeah.
Nice.
Like you pulled in right as they're pulling out. Do you see?
Yeah, and I wasn't like clicking my heels in the car saying, I hope there's a spot. I hope there's a spot. I
Yeah.
was just like, I didn't want to see my wife in that mode, especially when we're in Maui.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen at all. I have no idea. I'm like,
Yeah.
we could very well get turned away, but it was worth taking the chance, right? And
Yeah.
so I was just like, all right, whatever happens, happens, you know? And that's
Yeah.
we got it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how to explain this. I didn't design the universe.
Your level of does it happen, does it not, whatever, also played the impact on allowing that to
Yeah.
energy
Yeah.
to transmute.
Yeah.
You didn't need it to happen. I
No.
feel like when we need it, life's like that Chinese finger trap. The more you pull, the more you struggle. Ah,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. It's like trying
Not until you
trying to
let
win the
go.
lottery opposed to like you said, you had an impulse to go buy the ticket.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Timing under heaven
Like
I
is
love
that.
a
that.
term I
That's
I know. I've
use,
never
nice.
heard that.
Yeah.
and it's very appropriate. Some days I measure it like how many times did I get the parking space, or how many times did I, walk in and we got a seat when the place is crowded. Same things you're talking about. And if you can get 4 or 5 timing under heaven things in a day, man, you should be happy with yourself,
Yeah.
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 right? Because you're being interactive with the universe. Not exactly. Hawkins called it surrendering to the universe, right? Surrendering to God.
Yeah.
But I think it's more like, hey, I'm here. Let's play, right?
Yeah.
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 So
I
let's
like that attitude.
let's just play and see that. That's why, to me, the $10 bet. I have a limit, by the way. It's $20 a month, just so everybody knows
He's
that
not a
Randy,
gambler.
sitting
I,
there, got
I,
a $20 limit.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I have a $20 limit
Head
per.
out of here.
Yeah,
20,
that's it.
you mean?
But right now there's $160 in my little
You're up.
Yeah.
betting chest, right? And
Yep.
it started out with $20, so I'm
You're
doing
doing
fine.
good. You're doing good.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Because
yeah, that's a simple thing.
yeah.
Finding things like when you lose things, that's another. Like there's so many of these exercises that you can actually use your consciousness or interactiveness with the universe to discover things, not just outside you, but inside you too. So,
I want to know what trajectory you think we're on. You made that cool comment at the beginning of this about, a different world. And I loved how you used the present tense, because we are in a very changing time right now. And, the way currency works, all that, we're seeing all this stuff going on. I'm sure you're familiar with the name Elon Musk. Frank
right.
and I talked about this a couple times. Frank, why don't you know a little bit more? What was that video you were telling me about Elon Musk? How he's saying we're like in this time, like he's like, hey, if you're saving money, like I don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah. And I don't know the whole.
I want Randy's take on that.
Yeah. It was taken in a short context, so I don't know. I didn't see the whole video, but he was sitting there with a. I don't know if it was a podcast he was on, but he was sitting with other businessmen in his field, and he actually mentioned that he goes, if you're saving for a pension for the next 10 years, you're wasting your time. And he
Right.
wasn't saying it from a negative standpoint. He was saying, just go out there and enjoy life. Everything will start to acquire, kind of like you're talking when you walk to the movie theater.
Exactly.
The money
Right.
that you needed showed up. Because right now, people are stressed. What's weird is I have clients I talk to, and they're stressed out, and they have millions of dollars in valuable and stuff that could keep them going, but they're worried about retirement. I'm like, listen to yourself.
Right.
Like really listen to
Mhm.
yourself. I'm like, you have all this money and but it could be taken away in a heartbeat. I'm like, well, it eventually will be taken away, but energy is not taking away. It just cycles in and out. I'm like, if you
Yes.
understand physics, it is in the two-dimensional world. I mean, in the dualistic world, we deal with entropy. But the
Right.
happier we are, we lower the entropy.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it doesn't disappear. It
Yeah.
just cycles in and cycles out.
Are
Yeah.
you? Do you think we're on this new trajectory though? Because he's talking about like we're
Yeah.
going to see these age of abundance and stuff like this. Do you think we're heading down a road like that?
Well, I think people are at this gets really kind of nuanced, right?
Okay.
Depending on where you are in the world. Um, we have achieved a level of comfort.
Yeah.
Okay. 100 years ago, nobody took a hot shower.
No,
Yeah.
You know,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so there's things that I mean, I
Oh,
know it
3 meals
sounds
a day.
silly. I grew up until 12 years old, no indoor plumbing, drawing water out of a well.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
You're in a number 8 or 10 tub, right? And if you were number 1, 2, or 3 child, you know
All
what I mean?
right.
That you heated the water, all these things that, and my daughter just laughs at me because she can't comprehend it, right? So things have changed dramatically, okay? But it's one of those things like what do they call it, the frog in the pot and the water's boiling,
Yeah,
right?
it's like,
You don't notice it until it's too late.
yep.
So the way money works is real simple. If you don't have it, you want it,
Yeah.
right? You want to acquire it.
Hmm.
And if you have money, you're afraid of losing it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Each of those is a stress situation,
Yeah.
right? So, so when you can step outside of it and realize you only need money when you need it.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember
It's
walking to the theater.
Yeah.
I only need enough money to get to the theater, right?
Yeah. And then,
Uh,
yeah.
but what he's saying is that all the dynamics of like working for 40 years and getting a pension.
Mm.
Well, I can tell you 40 years of Social Security doesn't amount to enough money to pay rent somewhere anymore.
No.
nope.
No.
So, I mean, that's gone. So then the fallacy of, getting a college degree and all that kind of stuff,
Yep.
it's still working, but it's fading away.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so remember, our children or children coming into this generation from, God, what would it be? Say 2010 or so
Mm.
forward. We don't know what their world looks like,
No.
Yeah.
right? We know that 20 years ago or 1990 something, no internet, this, that, and the other, it's like that was a different world, right?
Yeah.
And so the human body, the human genome does not, I don't believe in evolution. Let me get to it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We are not meant to experience the level and rate of change we're experiencing right now. So what has changed is literally the rate of change is greater than our ability to process. So what are they doing? They're trying to increase the processing speed, right? Through
Yeah.
the computers and stuff. But human processing speed has not evolved to it. We are not geared for the level of intensity or interaction that's going on in the world. And that's why it becomes more important to be what absolutely Frank or absolutely Randy or you know what I mean? Mike,
Mhm.
it's like that absoluteness is the only thing you can move forward with in the world. Okay. Because the spin cycle on this is way up. It's like from when I was like, say, 18 years old, I had all day long to do things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Now tell people I have all day long to do things. They can't even comprehend that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't, all day long is not enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this a mental then that we're being
Well,
bombarded, or is there just more data now within the ether?
okay. Data density is
Okay,
what we're
yeah.
dealing with.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what I thought figured.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. My favorite thing is the UFO thing.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah. The the data density of all those people that say they've seen one and this, that, and the other does not translate, right? Conscious, subconscious, unconscious, and energetic support. Those are the four
Yeah.
keys. And it should be 100, 100, 100, 100. And it doesn't. So then if there's no data density across the board, it means that it's more imagination or more programming or more you saw a movie or something, even if it was in your own head, right?
Yeah.
So we could take two things. Frequency density. When I was in high school, there was like a dozen radio stations, maybe, but three that you could actually get on your radio. Now,
Okay.
what that's reflective of is the amount of electromagnetic energy that was flowing through the space you're in. It's real simple.
Yeah.
Telegraphs was, 150 years ago, then become radio stations, then became television, then it become all these other things. So the number of electromagnetic waves carrying information right now, let's see, where y'all are right now is about 3,500, literally 3,500 radio stations, right, that are
Yeah.
That's what
projecting
it's like.
information and energy. Yeah, how do you deal with that? Evolutionary wise, we are not geared to it.
Yeah.
It's like it would take maybe another 6 or 7 generations before we could handle this level of the intensity of the electromagnetic field that's going on. And then we
And this is
transfer it over to the information field. It's the same thing. There's too much information. Okay.
Yeah.
It's meaning you can't contextualize, and then we call integration, synchronization, and congruency. And by the way, that's a secret I use for making my bets.
There you go.
hell yeah.
Integration, synchronization, congruency. I have a NFL football player that was one of my clients, and I would go, well, this team's going to win or you're going to lose or whatever. And he would just like, don't tell me, don't tell me.
Yeah, right.
And I go,
I
well,
remember.
it's why my little gambling box went from $10 to $160 on his games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember last year on one of our calls together, Randy, I was telling you I was stressed about this one property and, I really want to get this sold for the guy. I like the guy a lot, got a good relationship. And here you go. Yeah, it's not going to sell. And I was like, fuck, Randy. I was like, don't tell me that
I'm sorry.
shit.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm over
I
here
was,
trying to manifest this
Did it
shit.
sell?
Oh, it
I
didn't.
was just
Hell yeah.
telling the truth.
It was
That
just
was all.
hilarious.
Yeah.
But the guy relisted it with me. We took it off. We
Oh,
came
yeah.
up with a game plan. It didn't sell. We ran the contract out. We got it rented, and then we sold it the beginning of this year. But thank you, sir.
Yeah.
But I remember that conversation and that football player. I get why he said that because I was like, God, I don't want to hear this
It's
shit.
like, don't tell me, don't tell me.
Don't tell me. So tell me this data information overload that we're going through and everything we got coming in does this make this more difficult for let's just say like picking up on the energy fields, remote viewing, when it comes to those, individuals are trying to manifest or create or things like that? Does the amount of data density affect that? Have you noticed that in your practice?
Ye- Yes, it can you.
Thicker to
Okay.
travel?
And like the stock market, they call it noise and signal.
Yeah.
Okay. So we could say, well, what was the noise level in 1990? And we say, well, it was 1 to 100, it was 100. Well, the noise level now is like 10,000 or something. I mean, you can go on anything and start topping in stocks, and all of a sudden you get bombarded with 50 pundits that tell you, oh, it's going to do this or that. And they always tell you what happened yesterday,
Yep.
Yeah.
And now
Bingo.
one of them hits the numbers for tomorrow, right? And literally we say, remember 3 minutes or 3 days? You can be the wealthiest person on the earth in 3 days of the stock market if you know
Yeah.
what you're
True.
doing, right? I have one client from Tucson. He came to visit me, and he wanted to go through a full 3-day program of teaching. I do that sometimes.
Yep.
And so I put him through the program, and on the last day, I said, by the way, what do you do? And he goes, well, I buy and sell gold futures and stuff. I work in the commodities market. And I go, well, gold will close at this number. And I just rattled it off to him, or it'll open tomorrow morning at this number. And he wrote it down. And he goes, you were wrong the next morning. He said 3 cents. And we
You,
call that fluctuations in the field.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
They always come up
Close
with
enough.
excuses on why they weren't right.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
And to me, it's like, tell the truth. That was the whole thing. Tell the truth, and what they say, let things fall where they may, or whatever, right?
Let the chips
So
fall.
this is a big game, but you are fighting data density, you're fighting electromagnetic field density, you're fighting the fact that the AI takes away all your cognitive abilities and decision making abilities. You're freaking overloaded. That's
Yeah.
all there is to it. And in the midst of all that, you're trying to go, oh yeah, this is going to be happen tomorrow or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's why I called it War Day, because all this today, the things you do today, give you an advantage for tomorrow. And
Yeah.
really, if you can do that, you're doing good. You have a better chance, right?
Do you think this data density that we're experiencing has anything to do with why CERN got shut down this year and they're not repowering until 2030? What's your take on that?
Well, it's real simple. Is the internet was developed for data transfer between like DARPA
Yep.
and entities, we'll call it. But one of the things that they don't tell you is the backbone of the internet flows through like we'll call it military servers or whatever.
Okay.
Okay. And that data density, they said that 70% of the traffic that occurs on the internet occurs through CERN.
Really?
Yeah.
Right? So you think about like how much we see, and then you think about the experiments they're running require them to factor in what we call n-dimensional space and an infinite number of variables.
Okay.
And when the action occurs, a splitting or whatever they do, then at that point they generate data and it literally overloads the internet. Okay. So when they shut it down, all of a sudden it's like there's an overpressure. Okay. You think about all the electromagnetic density and you go into a skiff or a field of what do you call aluminum foil all over your room.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about, the
Yeah.
thing where it
yeah,
blocks everything out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Faraday cage.
Yeah. Thank you,
So,
Faraday.
yeah, so you think about that, and so to me, as soon as they shut it down, the overpressure went down. Okay, and that's what I call it. Now I'm really sensitive to all that stuff because of doing all this crazy exercises.
Yeah.
So you could tell.
Yeah, I could tell there was a difference,
Yep.
and there's a difference in like when 5G came along, there was a difference in dream states.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm really sensitive to the fluctuations in the field. And of
Mhm.
course, that's exactly what CERN does, is fluctuation in the field. When you get that sensitive, though, most people don't handle it well.
No.
Yeah.
And just as an example, children with autism, I've worked with for 30 years, different people. And one of the things I discovered is like, Mike, you have about 31 channels open. Frank, you have about 30 channels open, 30, 31. So that is all normal. In other
Mhm.
words, I have 31 different radio stations. We can call them wife, children, work,
Yeah.
uh, people you follow on the internet. I mean, just there's a commonality to all of them. So we'll just call them radio stations. But one of the things I found out on autistic children is that they may have 500 or 5,000 channels open. So what do? They shut down. And when you talk to them, your information has no more validity than any one of the other 5,000.
Yeah.
So there was a boy in Austin. I drove down because I wanted to see, he was nonverbal, 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I reset a bunch of things, but one of the main things I reset was to block the number of channels he was receiving.
Mm.
And so I worked 2 days, got no response. I left. The next morning, the mother calls me. Oh my God, he's talking.
You're
Oh
shitting
wow.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, why? And she goes, well, I always every morning go through the same routine. Like, here's your cereal and here's your spoon and everything. And he goes, thank you, Mom. So here's the key. They are talking all along. You're just not hearing it. Okay.
Yeah.
So this goes back to Native American stuff. The plants are talking all the time. That's
Yeah.
a statement Marcel Vogel and Peter Tompkins out in California in the early 70s. All these plants and everything are talking to you. It's just that you don't receive it in a way that allows you to communicate back. Remember communication, and then you got to have that connection, right?
Yeah.
So once you reconnect, then now you can change things. But everybody's overloaded.
Yeah.
Everybody's overloaded. That's why we do the what I
That's
call
why this book is so important right now.
yeah,
This
yeah.
teaches you how to ground, how to center, how to be aware.
The greatest thing I say about the book is it doesn't tell you what's going to happen.
No.
Right? I didn't put that in. I just said, do these exercises, right?
Yep.
But the thing I noticed is that I've given them to 8-year-old children. I've given it to 80-year-old women.
Yep.
Everybody had benefited because they started having a sense of their self come back to them.
Yeah.
Okay. that wasn't extended out through their parents or through somebody else. So, so there's what do they call it? Authentic, I think is the word now. There's validity in being Frank. There's validity in being Mike. There's validity in being Randy. And we can have conversations. But if
Yeah.
you're not Frank or you're not Mike or
Yeah.
me, then the conversations are already,
Yeah.
what do you
Mark.
call it?
Yeah.
Insubstantial, we'll
Yeah.
call it.
I loved how you opened the preface of this book with what was I've always thought so powerful. I forgot where I heard this or how I heard it, but somebody explained that when you are born, you're given a race, a culture, an
Yeah,
identity, a name. You come into this world where you just have to start defending yourself and
right.
and who you are, and you're this thing, and there is no authentic self. It's what you're supposed to be or who you are or what your family tells you. And you opened
Yes.
it with a very similar line. And I
Yeah.
love that. And I thought that was so powerful because once people kind of that was a big thing for me about 8 years ago when I started to wake up that shook me up was I realized that. I was like, wow, everything I'm calling Mike is really an identity that was handed to me by my
Yeah.
parents, my teachers, my priests, my nuns, my whatever, my siblings, my friends, all the above.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
Yeah. What in the movie, what was it? Just a second. Uh, Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the remember I read things differently.
Yeah.
So
Oh
so
yeah.
I'm watching the movie and he takes off running. Okay.
Yeah.
Remember why? Because he had an emotional event he was not prepared to handle or to compute or deal with or something. It was beyond his ability to deal with it. His mother had passed away.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people out there like that. And we'll call it divorce or loss, whatever you want to call it. But he took off running, and the movie shows him running, beard getting longer and
Yeah.
everything. Run for a year or two, and
Yeah.
then one day he stopped. Right, and why? Because the programming and experience ran out of energy.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
So me, I got lucky. I started all the yoga and martial arts very early, and quickly ran out of all the programming. I mean, literally by the time I was 18, I was already through with all of it. And,
Yeah.
and so when you run out of the programming, then you end up stopping in the middle of the road in Monument Valley going,
What the hell?
Mm.
what do I want to do next?
Yeah.
Right. So the whole process of coming back to yourself is one of, now I can actually choose where I want to go. Right?
Yeah.
I can make a choice based on nothing except my own identity. That's the idea.
Yeah.
When you said you ran out, are you referring to like your crazy ass morning routine?
Yeah. Yeah.
God, I highlighted that too because I wanted to read that on air because I
Yeah.
saw this. This reminds Frank, you kind of do something similar to this.
Yeah.
So one of the big things in War Day, guys, is like establishing routine, part of discipline, et cetera, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I loved it because I was like, holy shit, when I read your routine, Randy. So I got it right here.
I,
So uh,
let me, the
Yeah.
insanity of that is, first
Right.
of all,
Yeah.
I was coming out of the hippie days.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And so in the early 70s, it's like, well, what do? You buy into the program and go do this and that.
Yep.
And I started a little construction business in LA, and I couldn't sleep. I'd literally gone 3 days without sleeping.
Wow.
Oh
And I
my
go,
gosh.
good man, mind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going, and so I was watching TV, Larchmont Center yoga class. I don't even know why. I go, that's it. So I go upstairs this little building and go to the yoga class. And I love it because the lady next to me was about 80 years old. And I sit down, and of course, I'm big, muscular or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And she put her ankle over her head this way. And I went, how long you been doing this? She goes, oh, about 10 years or so. And I go, that's really amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I went through the class. I couldn't do any of it. I couldn't hardly bend or nothing. Inflexible.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went home that night and slept. And I was like, oh my goodness,
That's
right?
why you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people don't realize what is wealth. To be able to sleep,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To be
No
able to
mind racing.
rest. I mean, golly. But anyway, then I moved to Monterey and Carmel and went to an ashram there. I went to a yoga class actually, and uh, and that started it. Uh, I went to one class and that was what do you call a spiritual experience.
Mm.
Mhm.
I went to the class. I'll tell you real quick. I went to the class. It was at a Monterey Peninsula College, and a lady was teaching Kundalini yoga. I went to the class. It's only the second yoga things I'd ever been to. And at the end, you lay out. You do the exercise, and then you just lay down. I could hear a voice going, "Come back, come back," and I could hear myself go, "No."
Yeah.
That's the
I'm
ego.
staying.
Just like, no. Why? Because the relaxation is so deep. And by the way, it's the same thing when you die, just so people know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The
Yeah.
relaxation's incredible. But anyway, I woke up, this lady was rubbing my feet. And I woke up and I looked at her and she goes, "Oh, you're back." She goes, "I need to go home. I need to feed my children."
Oh my God. How long were you on the
It's like,
phone?
okay. And I go, "What time is it?" And she goes, "Well, you've been gone for 2 hours. I've been rubbing
Oh
your
my
feet for
God.
2 hours."
Yeah.
Holy
And I
shit.
went, "Show me where the ashram is."
Yep.
Yeah.
I went to
Beautiful.
a half dozen classes and they go, "If you want to move in, these are the rules, right?
Yep.
3:30, right? The whole thing." I
Yep.
said,
Well,
"No problem."
well,
No,
well, we'll tell the audience. So 3:30 awaken, 3:45 cold shower. By the
yeah.
way, Frank does that
Oh,
every morning.
56-degree cold water in Monterey Bay, by the way. So,
Yeah.
56
yeah.
degree.
I get a cold. Isn't that
53.
funny? You mentioned like 100 years ago it was hot water, and more people that I know of are starting to do cold plunge and cold showers because they realize that immediate stress on the body gives you great relief at the end.
It does.
It's amazing.
Well, there's one key is you do the hokey pokey to get in when you're starting.
Yeah, yeah.
And the second thing is your body does not turn warm within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to turn the water to warm. Okay.
So wait, you're saying get in, pull the shower directly cold, and be in it for 3 minutes before changing to warm?
Ease into it.
Ease into
Oh,
it.
ease
Yeah.
into it.
But the effect of it is your body should turn warm.
Yeah.
In other words, there's a reason to do it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
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 I see.
Now, if your body turns warm, it means all your systems are working
Flowing.
fine. Okay.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, it means you have a problem and should need to address it. So I tell
Yeah.
people cold
Shaking.
therapy, cold plunge therapy. I used to do it. I used to do it in California. I go swimming in Monterey Bay every day and I loved it. Yeah. You'd
Yeah.
turn blue and you knew it was time to get out of the water. So,
Time to get out.
but otherwise, it's like most people aren't prepared for this. So go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. 4 a.m., 1 hour of yoga, which
Yeah,
you just dove into. 5 a.m., 1 hour of meditation.
right,
6:30 a.m., breakfast.
right,
7:30 a.m., prepare and travel to work.
right,
8 a.m., work 8 hours and lunch.
right.
5 p.m. now, martial arts training.
Yeah, 5 to 7. Yeah,
Yep. Yep. 8 p.m., dinner. 8:30, 1 hour of yoga. So back at yoga.
yeah,
9:30, study, which you touched on at the beginning of this call that you're still doing to this day. And
right.
then, of course, 10:30, prepare for bed. 11, sleep. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you still barely sleep, Randy. 11 to 3:30, that's not a huge window.
Okay. Why the routine? Let's deal with it. See, a lot of people
Please.
tell you all these stuff, but they don't tell you why.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So when you do like at night, the sun salutations, or we do an hour of yoga set at 7:30. The idea was to undo the physical stress you had been through during the day. Okay. And then a quick shower in the evening was to ground you. And then the reading and studying was to put your mind on something other than work, relationships, things like that.
Mm.
So the effect of all of this was that you went to bed relaxed. You went to bed with the muscles already stretched out. So all the things you do during sleep, you didn't have to do while you were asleep. You did them consciously.
Yeah.
So the meditation and the exercises and all the other things was to get you to a position where you actually slept real sleep for that like 4 hours or what, 4.5 hours. And so what you're doing instead of trying to get the body to do something efficiently, you were taking over and practicing it so the body didn't have to do it efficiently. You had already done it for you.
I see what you're saying. You can sleep less if you don't have to let the body like fall into slumber and
Right.
do all this
Yeah.
if you're actually naturally tired and relaxed.
Yeah, because
Right.
most people will sleep like 7 to 8 hours, but it's not a really good sleep.
No,
Right.
most of
So,
it's
No.
bad sleep.
yeah.
Well, and the reason is the body's
Yeah.
rolling at night. Remember the rolling exercise?
Yep.
And then the mind, the subconscious is clearing. So we would do a meditation, like a mantra meditation.
Yep.
And and the purpose of those was to unwind the mind from all the chitta, all the thinking that went
Okay.
on during the day. Like all your thinking today is not needed for tomorrow.
Yeah.
It literally is not needed after 5 o'clock. It's kind of like we go 5:30, switch and go, "Hi, honey, how are you? How was
Yeah.
your day?" I don't even remember. You know, right? And
Yeah.
why? Because I can pay attention now.
Yeah.
So I don't go into attention deficit, you know.
So that's what these routines do. They show you how to switch on and switch these things pretty much at
Yeah.
will.
Yes. Yeah.
Most people don't know how to do it. People accidentally fall asleep and have a good night's sleep,
Mhm.
which,
And then they start giving credit to all these stupid reasons,
yeah, well, like, yeah, eat the
like the
Wheaties.
Wheaties.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
And, but it's the conscious effort and it takes all the time. Just like you talk about martial arts, I think I mentioned this to you when we spoke. I boxed my whole life
Yeah.
based on my father. So my first memory of a childhood was my dad holding my hand and twisting it
Yeah.
right into his fist. So I could do that so well now. I don't think about it. I can hit the bag for 45 minutes without taking a break. But
Right.
there's a nuance to it. And
Right.
it's a dance to me. It's no longer about competition. But in the beginning, my dad is like, for the first, I want to say 4 years of me fighting, the only thing I heard, relax, relax. I'm like, I'm getting punched. How am I supposed to relax? But over time,
Yeah.
my
Well, the
body
guy's
learned.
trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Literally.
But over time, one day it just clicked. And
Yeah.
it was the constant uh, um, getting into that routine that allowed it. And I'm like, okay, now I'm being part of it. It was a weird thing, but it wasn't presented to me as a martial art type thing. It was just like, this is more efficient. You can't think, you have to respond.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a client that I've been helping. He's a boxing coach,
Mhm.
Oh,
and
cool.
he's been at it for 50 years or more.
Yeah.
And he brought some of his young boxers to me. And like you say, relax, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is you don't win by covering, right?
No, no,
You
you
win
don't.
by attacking. And if
Yeah.
you don't attack him, then
Yeah.
I yell at him. But
Yeah.
anyway, boxing is a martial art.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and the great thing about martial arts, if you practice long enough, you learn to relax.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's people go, I learned to fight, or no, you learn to relax at some point.
Yeah.
Learn
Because,
to deal with stress. You learn to deal with intensity,
yeah.
and I think we're losing some of that,
Yeah.
with our young
Well,
ones.
hey, kudos to Mike. He just had a second session today, right?
Yes, Randy, I haven't told you this yet, but I
What did you
started
do?
Aikido. I started
Oh
training
yeah,
Aikido. So I literally found a dojo,
yeah,
said, I'm going to do it this year. This came off of one of our calls when you were telling me,
yeah,
Mike, you're mentally, you're doing
yeah.
the acrobatics mentally. We got to tire you out physically. So
Right.
I was feeling it, a lot that was on my mind at the top of this year. And I was like, all right, and then Frank and I did a podcast with this gentleman, similar like we're having here. And he's talking about, he goes into these Aikido stories. And I
Yeah.
left and I told Frank, I was like, I'm starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find a freaking dojo. And boom, I started 2 days later on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people have asked me to teach martial arts over the years, and
Yep.
one of the things I tell people with children is start them in Aikido.
Mm.
And they go, why? And I go, because they learn how to fall.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we've been doing.
Yeah, you learn how to fall. And I mean, I've come off, long stories, but anyway, the Aikido training is what saved me from injury.
Ah,
Yeah.
beautiful. That's
Yeah,
what my sensei was telling me. She was
yeah,
like, you need to, once you learn how
yeah,
to fall, you then
yeah.
you're good.
You learn to move with what we call physical pressure,
Yep.
Yeah.
right? And interactions. And I stay with Stanley Pranin. He
Uh-huh.
became the head of the Aikido Federation in Japan. He was a white boy.
Yeah. Like
Oh,
me.
oh my.
Yeah, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's very high privilege, very high rank to acquire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I studied with him for several years, and
Beautiful.
I studied with some other masters too, but um, you truly learn what fluidity of movement is,
Yeah.
and most people don't have that.
No, they're
So
very rigid.
ballet teaches it, Aikido teaches it, and
Yeah.
Kung Fu teaches it. Right?
And you were Kung Fu, Shaolin Kung Fu.
Yeah, Shaolin Kung Fu teaches it. Because Shaolin Kung Fu is where we say ballet came from. It's where
Yeah.
it's called White Crane Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Oh,
The movements in White Crane are exactly the movements in Russian ballet. So yeah,
but yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Frank. I was excited to tell you about that,
Yeah.
Randy.
yeah.
I came from it this
Yeah,
morning.
if you can learn to be fluid in your movements, then people recognize it in you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's about the energy, and that's what I loved about. That's what attracted it to me.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's I have when I used to fight, I was losing a fight in San Francisco.
yeah.
It was a black belt championship, and the guy against me was good. He's my size and he's really good in kung fu. And I go, this is not going to go well. This is not going to end well.
Yeah.
So in the middle of the match, I switched to Aikido. It was a
Oh,
Oh,
kung fu match, but he threw that punch, and I wrapped him up and flipped him clean out of the ring. Right.
yeah.
And I mean, his eyes are this big going over the.
What the hell did he just do?
Yeah, because the problem is people that study kung fu don't realize what Aikido is, and people do Aikido don't recognize what kung fu is. So you can get hurt if you mix it up with somebody that is not trained in that particular style.
yeah.
Hmm.
So, but I've avoided I don't know how many fights in my life by using Aikido techniques.
Well,
Just
that's
a
the
loose
point.
grab or, Ikkyo, Nankyo,
Yeah,
Yonkyo.
yeah, you know it all. Yeah, that's like literally what I'm learning right now.
Once you control the thumb or the wrist, then it's all over, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And
So,
they,
so
yeah,
it became a way to not fight, and that's what I love about Aikido.
yeah.
It's
exactly.
about movement and learning to not fight. Remember, that's what I should have been learning all my life.
Well, you
Then
mentioned
I
that
learned to
several times in the
fight.
book. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
So I'm very proud of you because
thank you.
I've told like football players, I've told basketball players, I've told all kinds of people, go do Aikido, okay? And I even told one famous football coach, you need to start doing Aikido. He got so mad at me. And I
Really.
go, you think you're tough, right? I'll
Yeah.
put an 8-year-old Aikido child in there with you and we'll see who cries first.
Right?
Yeah.
And that was the other thing. I was the biggest person in class in Aikido, and all the smaller people took great delight in making me cry in class.
Oh,
So
I
every class I cried. I mean, from the pain, right?
one of my partners today, 5'2",
Oh yeah,
and her name's Erica.
yeah,
She was killer, man. She had my arm all up. I was just
yeah,
like, put me on the mat, no problem.
Yeah.
And she's
yeah.
about my
Oh no,
size,
no,
maybe a buck 05
Yeah.
sopping wet,
yeah,
And I was just like, God damn, you could tell she's been
yeah,
training for eight
Yeah.
some years.
yeah. Danielle was my nemesis. She was 5'1" or 5'2".
Yeah, tiny.
She'd just look at me and like that, and I'd hit the floor.
It was I was so impressed today when because
Yeah.
I didn't work with her last time, but today she was one of my partners, and I was like, God damn, this girl could kick my ass.
Well, I can tell you, in 5 years, you'll realize that you actually kind of know something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So,
Well,
but see, we don't do that anymore. We go college degree 4 years, But we don't think, well, if you did 5 years of this, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, because all
Yeah.
the exercises are progressive, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. They
if
build on
somebody
each
makes
other.
their way through it, they're welcome to call me and I'll tell them what the progression is, right?
See, I love
So
that.
this is just to set you. But if you decide to move forward, just like when you say, I'm going to take Aikido, because we talked about it, that means you want to develop. Now that's where that first routine, it was a development routine. It wasn't a
Yeah.
set routine, you know. It wasn't to keep me in the same place. I'll put that away.
Yeah, it was expansion. Yeah.
One
Yeah.
one of my favorite things about your book, Randy War Day, that and especially because just revisiting, but last couple of weeks, a lot's been going on, with like so Kayla very well. We're getting married in October. We're excited for that. Well, I'm
Yeah.
stepping
Oh,
into,
good. Yeah.
yep, I'm stepping into a family role, with her son and her daughter. We got the two kids, stuff like that. But one thing that we're really trying to teach the kids about right now is discipline. And discipline is not something that is discussed in Western culture. It's actually blown over. It's kind of made fun of. In fact, it's like, well, like there's no honor in it. And one thing I
Right.
loved about War Day, and I was sharing this with Kayla, was your focus on discipline, because
Yeah.
that discipline is how we, increase our energy field. How we learn to work with this world. You
Yeah.
want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, the language, how you do one thing is how you do everything,
Yeah.
right? And so I have a granddaughter. She's 14 and single parent,
Yeah.
mom. And it's been chaotic, which is typical of teenagers.
All right.
But one of the things I've done with her is they call it direct transmission in martial arts.
Okay.
Look at me. I'm telling you, blah, 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 right? And of course, you're applying pressure. You're pressuring their psychology. Okay. And and the chaos comes from the instability of relationships and stuff, mom and dad and all that kind of stuff. Not realizing that there's instability in each one or whatever. All right. And then the combination, of course. And so my daughter says, well, you're being mean to her. And I go, no, I'm trying to stop a problem before it develops. Okay.
Yeah.
She moved into a new house. I went and looked at it. And when my granddaughter moved in, to say that room was 3 feet deep in clothes and things that, and you know what we call it now? Typical teenager. I mean, I know a family is extremely wealthy and their daughter's the same way. All right.
Yeah.
So it's not a money issue.
Mm-mm.
No.
She sent me a picture the other day and I go, what the hell happened? Everything, the books are in the shelves, everything's organized, no clothes. No. She did that on her own. Now, all I not take credit for it, but what I did is go, right?
Yeah.
You have got to pay attention because your mom and dad are not going to be there for you. And you need to have a routine that will support you doing well. And she took to it, right? Most of them fight you on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so they don't understand that I'm not doing it to please me. You as a parent are not telling those children do it to please me. I want you to be able to please yourself with your surroundings. Remember that beauty thing again?
Yeah.
And if your room is chaotic, I guarantee your mind is. Okay.
Yeah.
And so how do you fix that? Well, they fix it by texting and watching and I mean, that's not a fix. It's a distraction, same way that a drug or alcohol is.
Yeah.
So when you tell them that I'm not doing this for you, I'm not telling you all this for you or for me, I'm telling
Yeah.
it for you, right? The best possible outcome is one of no friction. In other
Yeah.
words, I'm not trying to create friction in the relationship or dominance or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But action sequence consequence. If you don't clean your room, well, no pizza for you.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that
But
creates,
that's how we train it with the kids.
yeah.
You have to
But
use this reward type of thing, and that's what
the
we're doing at home.
biggest problem I find in all people with being successful is two things, either a permission issue or a deserving issue.
Mhm.
Okay. And so you have to be very careful with children that you don't go, oh, you didn't clean your room, so no ice cream for you. Right. And then somebody comes along and goes, I want to take you on $1 million vacation. They go, I don't deserve it. Right. And you go, where did that come from? That you're 25 years old right now. No, they're still programmed.
Yep.
And permission is the other one. Like I work with a lot of clients that are trying to become successful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that is the two major problems I encounter. Every one of them, I have to reset on both of them because we have self-imposed limits and there's no reason. Because what's the difference between $1,000 a week and 100,000? Zero. It's just
Yeah.
zero, right?
Yeah. According to the
But,
universe, there's no
yeah,
difference.
Nope.
yeah. But if deserving and permission, they come in as limits on your future and on your abilities.
Mhm.
And so, like I said, I reset people. It's a very common. I've done it on multimillionaires. I've done it on people with no money at all,
Yeah.
but it's always the same problem.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing with people wanting to be like a superstar, like in football.
Yeah.
Like I encountered in them. Why? Because their um, activity level hits a plateau, right? And you have people like I mentioned names, Tony Robbins stuff. Oh, you can be great, and the answer is no, you can't. You're not you. If you're not you to start with, that means you have permission, deserving issues. You have integration, synchronization, congruency issues. You're not able to execute at a level of intuition, which is being relaxed. So there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
That
So
makes
that's how it works.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
right.
mean, I'd tell them up front, right?
Yeah.
Well, we all have things we do.
How should I parent then to make sure they don't have like a I don't deserving issue? Because I have been using that,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Well, it's we don't realize that we're programming people around us.
Mhm.
Okay. And so that's why the the outcome of all this is that you start being more aware of your words. And and what that means is you start to say something that's, let's say, negative or have negative impact, and you can't do it. Okay. Kind of like I'm going to bet on the Spur Knicks today.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell an
Right.
untruth, right? They talk about it's called a satvik or something in yoga. And when you reach the throat level chakra, you speak the truth.
Yeah.
Okay. It's where all the saints or prophets or whatever. And it meant you'd reach a level of consciousness where you're unable to literally tell an untruth or be negative to other people.
Mhm.
Okay. It also makes you cry a lot, just so you know. So,
Hey,
Well,
that's just
it's
fine.
releasing. Yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say that's a good thing. That's a release.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we'd be very careful on deserving permission. In other words, I'm not going to do something. It's not a deserving or permission issue from me. It's the fact that you need to pay
Create good
attention.
habits.
Yeah, you need to pay attention to what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And that is that if you can organize yourself, then you will go much farther in life than disorganized.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it has to be related to this. So like if a kid doesn't clean their room, taking their dessert away, there's no relatability to a clean room and not having dessert.
Mhm.
Right.
And so it really messes up the mind. So I remember with my son, I would go in there and start cleaning the room with him. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I understood like when you're young, having a clean room is not top priority.
Yeah.
Right.
It really isn't, you
No,
know?
it's
So I
very
remember,
low on the totem pole.
yeah, and I understood that. So I went in there with a stern voice, we got to clean the room, and then I would help him do it. And over time, he kept his room clean. And I noticed he was more he could function better. But I
Yeah.
didn't just tell him to go clean his room. I showed him what a clean room looked like. And it's a long game. It's not a short game. It's a long game. And
No.
you have to be doing it. Like
Yeah.
I constantly went around and kept and I've always done it because my mom and my dad taught me that.
Mhm.
My dad, had me in the gym before I even can spell the damn word,
Yeah, right.
you know, and I'm thankful for that. So
Oh yeah. No, that
oh God, yeah,
the pain you go through like in martial arts, the only thing you can ever come up with is thank you, sensei. Right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you. Right. Don't worry about the stitches or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually once had this Japanese guy. He was teaching me karate,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it was just individual sessions. It wasn't classes, and he had me set up. He had like a 2x4 with a leather wrap around. I'm doing the
yeah,
punch,
yeah, yeah.
and
The
he,
Yarwood board. Yeah,
yeah. So I'm hitting this thing, and he's like, "Don't stop till I tell you." And the phone rings, and I remember he had a cordless phone, like those old ones with, this is
yeah,
back in the like
80s or
the
90s.
late
yeah.
80s or something. And he's walking around with his cell phone, and I mean cordless phone, talking to someone, and my knuckles, there's blood dripping down, but I didn't
Yeah.
stop because I was scared of this guy.
Yeah.
And he comes like, "Why didn't you stop?" Like he told me not to.
I, I didn't give you permission to
Yeah,
stop.
yeah. But he got caught on a phone call, and he realized, why didn't you stop? And I'm like, because you didn't tell me to. And he's like, I got a lot of work to do with this kid, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Back to the music stuff, as Crosby, Stills, Nash. You are on the road, must have a code that you can live by.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
And I looked at that song and I thought, well, what's that mean? And well, if you're on the road, what happens? Well, maybe your hygiene and stuff goes out the window.
Yeah,
Maybe
right.
you don't. And so to be able to maintain your own routine and circumstance, like I go on the road quite a bit. I do my sun salutation, I do my rolling, I do meditation, I still do all those same things because it benefits me, right?
yeah,
And I sleep outstanding sleep.
yeah.
But one of the things that I have an interview coming up with Gaia, and they one of the things that comes up is I wanted to talk to them about the fact that you teach your children to brush your teeth, you teach them to go to bed, you teach them to take a bath, right? Right?
Yes. Yes.
It's a different child,
Yeah,
right? It's
Absolutely.
a total different child because they recognize the greater extent of what it means to be them.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And that
This
comes
is what
out
should
of
be
this.
starting with every child.
Yeah,
Warden,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
yeah,
these concepts should be grade school, basics, things that we're starting from a very early age. I could not
yeah,
agree with you more. And I do think our school system, quote, is everybody sees it for what it is. Okay,
right.
this is we're here to make push out employees. It's totally fallen apart, especially with all this new age stuff that we're talking about. Different world. Like we will not have the same school system we do now in 15 years. We just won't.
Well, no, because it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
kind of like the music isn't working anymore, or the
Yep.
country, or the whiskey isn't working anymore. That's what
The whiskey's working.
whiskey sales have dropped over 40% in the
You're
last
right.
3 years.
Yep, you're
Why
totally
it's
right.
not working anymore, right?
Yeah.
And so that to me is the key, is
Mhm.
that if you can give them something that'll always work, and that is them,
Yeah.
that makes a difference, right?
Yeah, and I feel in this time, people are being drawn to it because of the chaotic. Because when something
Yeah,
is so chaotic, you either fully jump into the off the cliff, so to speak, or you find a different route. And I think it's getting so chaotic. More and more people are returning to self-inquiry, or in some cases never been there, but are starting to do self-inquiry, stuff like meditation, breath
right.
work, and all this stuff. And because I see it all the time, because I've been doing this for years. Now, when I go to a place, there's like 200 people there where it used to be 20. It's like, oh my God, I got to sit way in the back now. I liked it when there was 20 people. But it's really cool to see you
Yeah,
start, and obviously someone like you, been doing this for a long time. More and more people know who you are now based on the work you're doing because they're drawing away from the old way of thinking into this
right.
way. And but you're like and I mean this like you're a real person because
Yeah,
No, no, I mean this. I mean this because I've been to some people that were playing the role, and I could sense it.
Oh,
The information they were giving was spot on, but they're also playing this weird role. Like, they
oh yeah.
dress up a certain way, and
He knows all about that. He's on Gaia, man.
yeah, I'm like,
He knows all about that.
do I have to wear
You
a
know,
white robe and shave my head? Like, I don't want to do
To
that.
fit in here.
I don't want to do that. But you're just like this everyday guy.
Authentic, baby.
Yeah, but yet the information is spewing out when you hear it. It's like I don't think anyone could shake their head and say you're wrong. They're like,
Yeah.
huh.
no. Well, I'm trying to tell the truth, but the other thing, one guy come up to me in a martial arts class and goes, "You're way too pretty to have done martial arts."
That's what my dad always said.
And I
Never
go,
get
what
in
do
a
you
fight.
mean? He goes, you don't have any scars. And I go, no, I'm Indian and they don't show. I have over 430 stitches in my face and I never got more than 40 of them at a time.
You should
I've
have
got
said I'm
scars all
happy.
over
Wait,
from
are
knife
you
fighting and,
shitting me? You got
I-
over 437 stitches on your face?
yeah,
Holy shit, Randy.
uh, beer mug, right?
Oh, God. Yeah, but that was probably a good
Right
30.
here,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was
Fight.
yeah.
Concrete,
That was a
I mean,
Yeah, that was no
they
dojo.
don't really show unless you shine a light certain way, right?
Yeah.
That's what my dad always told me. Never fight a guy uglier than you.
Yeah, yeah, because
Good.
he probably earned.
Great point.
Yeah.
I've had people go, "Oh, you're like I said pretty." No, no, you don't. I'm
Yeah.
scarred.
I
I'm
love
really
that.
scarred
No,
up.
I'm Native American. My skin just doesn't show it.
Aikido. I've dislocated a hip and a knee.
Oh, yeah.
Dislocated shoulders. I mean,
They
Yeah.
made me sign all sorts of waiver shit before I started
oh
that.
yeah,
Yeah, they know. Yeah.
yeah. But I will say you, I had one guy. He was like special forces medic.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And he started pressing on me one day and he goes, "You broke your neck." And I go, "Yeah." And he pressing around, "You broke your back." And I go, "Yeah." And my hip and my knee and ankle, and wrist and elbows. And
Yeah.
he goes, "How are you still alive?" And I said, "This stuff.
Yeah.
It's,
Literally, though.
it's
That-
that routine,
Yeah.
right? And the ability to remember what I said, be interactive with yourself. And once you find a problem, it's like if this isn't working, go swimming, right?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? If this is, you find ways, and it's always through movement. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Physical movement, mental movement. Somehow you have to move yourself away from your problems,
Yeah.
See,
and
that's
that's
Yeah.
it.
And the universe will present the solution to your direct need at that moment. You just have to it's learning how to trust, like trusting doing it. Because people are like, if I do the routine, a lot of people will do a routine for a short period of time. It's like, I didn't see anything. I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
what you went
yeah,
4 days?
yeah, stop looking under the bed, just
yeah,
keep doing it. And over time, you realize it becomes part of you. And then you start to notice, oh my God,
yeah.
what's
Let-
that?
It's like
Yeah.
5 years of Aikido, you will be walking along and somebody will go to bump you and you'll just like flow around them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they hit you and you just spin and keep
Yeah.
on going. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
and it shocks people. It's really because
Yeah.
I'm like that when I'm in crowds.
Yeah.
Right?
Interesting.
And it
So
probably
I learned
shocked.
it in
Yeah.
Aikido.
It
Yeah.
probably shocked you or people who do that for the first time when they noticed.
Yeah.
Like like for Mike, when you were practicing playing guitar, like there was a point you were practicing, then there was a point where you're just playing.
Yeah.
And like,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the whole point.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's the whole point. You'll get to place where you play.
yeah,
That,
That's
yeah,
it. The
at the highest state.
yeah, it is.
That's it.
Yeah.
The information contained in War Day uh,
It's priceless.
is priceless. This book can help somebody who's like, a 5-year-old or an 80-year-old. It doesn't matter what stage of your life that
Yeah.
you're in. And that's what's so cool about this. And it's a nice, easy read too.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel like you're taking on a lot, which I really liked. You can sit down. Like I've gone through this twice now, and it's easy to consume. There's so many parts that you'll just be like, I never looked at it like that. Or it's like a great reminder. Because a lot of the people listening to this show, Randy, they're on the path, that this
Right.
is stuff Frank and I have been talking about for shit the last 6 years
Yeah.
behind this microphone,
Right.
And so it not only is it a reminders, but there's still things in here that is going to give you a different perspective that you didn't have prior to reading this. And I can
Yeah.
promise you this because it happened to me twice.
Yeah, and even if you are consider yourself as a disciplined person, this book will just take you to the next level and remind you. So I was reading because
Yeah.
I grew up disciplined and I didn't realize that's how I was raised. But now reading this book, it just gives you another like, oh my God, all right, okay, now you want to go deeper into the disciplines
Yep.
Yeah.
and nuances and stuff like that. It's like, oh man, okay.
But like even the blessing the food, Randy, like
Yeah.
that was just that's such a thing for me. And it's funny, I started doing that maybe like 2 years ago. Just
Yeah.
I forgot where I heard it. I don't know where I saw it or what, but I'll put my hands over my food now before I
Yeah.
eat, you know, and this is where I learned where like praying at the dinner table actually came from.
That's where it
No, it
came from.
came from blessing our
Yeah,
food,
it
the
was,
energy exchange. It
yeah.
wasn't, oh, I'm gonna pray to this God, you know. And that
Yeah.
was so
This
cool.
is your etheric field.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things doing the rolling exercise, your etheric field gets bigger,
Yeah.
Yeah.
your energy field. And so when you think about that, and then your palms, you learn to press that down into your food,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the
Is it?
bigger your energy field is, the greater changes you can make in the food itself. And, you know,
Yeah.
there's so many things you can do. Like people say, well, certain things like medicine side effects. Well, did you take the medicine and change it to get rid of the side effects? See what
Ah,
I'm doing?
Yeah.
see?
Right?
Yeah. It's
See
minimized.
that? See, this is where the
Oh,
extension of all this is crazy.
Yeah.
Because
I never
so
thought
it's
about
not
something
just
like
your
that.
food, right? Your pills, right?
Yeah. You
I
do it.
mean,
Yeah.
your dog, everybody you
Yeah.
meet is a blessing, right?
Isn't that interesting? Like when we were young children, like every time I found a hill or a big tire, me and my friends would either get in tire and roll it or
Yeah.
we'd spin. We did this thing and we instinctively rolled all the time because it made you dizzy for one and you lost your balance. But there was something joyful at the end of it when you regained your balance. We didn't intellectually know what we were doing, but we were drawn to a hill to roll down. We were drawn to a
Oh
big
yeah.
fire to go in,
Yeah.
and it did something to us. It made us giddy, but we had no idea. We were just instinctively wanted to do that. Same thing with climbing a tree, right? The energy field on a tree
Yeah.
until like in when I started studying the energy fields around trees, I'm like, oh, this is why people hug trees, right? It's like it expands your field.
That was
Yeah.
another badass thing in the book where you tied yourself to a tree in Arizona. I was like, hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's on the Kaibab Plateau.
Does
Yeah,
it?
Yeah. I mean, the Kaibab Plateau is a very strange place. I tell people go up there
Never
and
been. Yeah.
just walk around and stuff. I used to love it as a kid and stuff and go back there when I was a teenager. But, everybody talks about revelation, okay,
yeah,
and ascension and all these terms. I had about 35 cousins. We were all from like 5 to about 14 years old, okay? And one day, my house was by a railroad track,
yeah,
okay? And so they had the steep bank, right? Like 50 foot of bank at a big angle. And we'd gotten a new refrigerator box or
yeah,
something. I don't
It's
remember,
some spot.
stove, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Dragged that box up to the top of that hill. And we thought it'd be a good idea. 6 of us got in that box and kicked it off. And if you don't know what ascension or all those other mystical terms are,
yeah,
I promise you they happened going down that hill.
yeah,
It was,
Oh yeah, Randy, that's hilarious.
yeah, we crawled down there laughing so hard. And
That's
that's how you
awesome.
tell. The same thing with the rolling exercise.
yeah,
The joy that comes out of you
yeah.
is insane, right?
It's awesome.
And so that's what I would like people to get to, you might say, right?
Oh,
And that very well is the childlike state in which like Jesus
spoke about.
yeah spoke about
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
back to that childlike state.
Yep.
yeah.
And a lot of these things that anxiety will just simply fall away. Instead of trying to get rid of anxiety, come back to who you are and the anxiety doesn't exist. It's different than getting rid of, it's moving towards something else. And I think that's where a lot of us are trying to move towards things that we don't want. I'm like, no, move towards the thing that you want and watch what happens. Like you move towards the movie theater and the money showed up along the way. But if you
Yeah.
like, have to go get a paper route first before I go to the movies, you would have never made it to the movies. Like you would have been delivering papers all day long while your friends are going to the movies, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I tell you another exercise
Yeah.
remind me of going to the movies. We were not allowed, we were given a task or meditation. Tomorrow, you're not allowed to buy your own food,
Oh, yeah.
right? Now, I'm a big boy and I eat a lot. So, right off the bat, I didn't eat breakfast. I got in the truck and drive to work, and the guy goes, I've got an extra burrito. You want it?
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to eat lunch. And guy goes, come on, we're buying you lunch today. See how, right?
Yeah. See, what I would have done is give
I
my
just,
best friend all my money and said, "Okay, you buy it for
yeah.
me."
Well, I decided to try this.
Yeah.
People, if I walked up to you and said, hey, by the way, you can't buy your food tomorrow,
Yeah.
you'd be
Right.
like, huh, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna
Right.
starve. Yeah.
But when you look at it as a meditation, it means that I'm willing to, remember that timing under heaven thing?
Yeah.
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 Willing to surrender to the universe and let's just see where it goes today, right? Same thing when you were a child. You
Mhm.
went out the door and you had no plans and no water
Barely.
bottle of 99 ounces and
Yeah.
Yeah.
all these other things, right? Because you'll find water, you'll find food, people feed you, right?
Yeah.
Everybody always fed us. So,
Yeah.
and then the greatest compliment I ever got was my daughter when she was about 14, looked over at me one day and goes, you're such a child.
Thank you.
And you
Yeah.
said,
Oh,
thank
well,
you.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
I'm doing
love that.
good
The
here.
best
Thank you.
compliment I've ever got.
I love that meditation. Have somebody else buy your food tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just not allowed to buy it because they don't have to buy. They can
No,
give
I
it. They
mean,
can,
like,
yeah.
yeah, just like see, like, to
Mhm.
show up and know at some level it's going to happen, but
Right.
trust it enough and see what, and then that's where you get these brilliant stories from.
Yeah.
It's not because I went out and did this; it's because
Yeah.
this thing showed up.
That's it.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
people say they have faith.
yeah,
Okay. And how do you demonstrate faith,
yeah,
right? You present yourself to the world. One of the things we talked about the young people today, I had people that or young ones that would get in my face.
yeah,
And what that means, they would actually stand up when they met me and close the space.
yeah,
And that is so rare for me for somebody to do that
yeah,
anymore, particularly, but the young ones, very rarely get them where they'll stand in front of me because I project so much energy when I'm working on it. And my granddaughter does that. She'll stand up right in front of me.
I
And
love
I'm
it.
like, I'm so proud of her for doing that
Yeah.
because she's not intimidated. And my daughter, I did the same thing with when she's young. Absolutely fearless around people my size.
How tall are you, Randy? Are you like 6'4"?
I'm
Six?
6'4". Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say. Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
like,
people
holy
go, how? Yeah.
shit.
I'm
When you
77 and I'm 6'4". So there.
holy shit,
wow.
man. And yeah, the energy field off of you can feel it when you're around you. Literally feel it.
Yeah. Well,
I can feel it now when you're in DC.
Yeah, right?
you develop that density.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not always a good person. I walk down the street sometimes and I'll kind of like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
doing a little.
I have people like jump out of the way or,
Right.
Yeah.
flip off the curb.
Yeah, right.
My girlfriend says, stop it. Right. No, she knows I'm playing with
Clearing
people.
the space.
It's just entertainment. I mean,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I we could literally talk to you forever, Andy. So we know it's getting late out there. We really appreciate you taking the time tonight. We're gonna have you back on, again on
oh
the show.
yeah.
We know our
Yeah.
audience is gonna love this. Frank, myself, we love the conversation. We love having you. You're a mentor, you're a friend. So we really appreciate you coming out tonight to talk about War Day.
Yeah.
Frank and I
Yeah.
can't speak highly enough about the book, guys. Anybody listening, please go get your copy. It's on Amazon. You can find it you have it on your website too, right, Randy?
Right.
Yep.
Wardaybook.com. Yeah. That's what it,
Daybook.com. I highlighted one thing at the end that I wanted to end today's episode with that I thought was kind of cool. So Randy's joining us today. Well, Randy Veitenheimer is joining us today on Perspective Shift. We never gave you a proper intro.
Yeah.
So thank you for being on Perspective Shift. And I loved it at the end. It says, the human body is a template for the world as a whole. As you
Yes.
learn and change your inner world, your perspective of the outer world also changes. This is
Yes.
the reason we call this perspective shift, by the way,
That's
Randy.
true. That's true.
This change of perspective changes your interactions with the people and the things in the world around you. Ideally, those interactions would resonate at a higher energetic level than you had prior to attaining this knowledge. This
Yeah.
is how we become, or how we come back from this, or that is how we come back from this, one self study at a time.
Yeah.
I thought that was beautiful, and I just wanted to bring up that is the reason why this podcast is called Perspective Shift.
Yes. It's absolutely true.
Yep.
Okay.
Once you change your perspective, the whole
Yeah.
world begins to change,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and people don't get that.
Well, we say they haven't had the opportunity yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
That's why we came here.
So, yeah, and so books like this is to give people the opportunity. It's to be able to not say I didn't know anymore.
Yeah.
Right. That this book is to take that away. Right.
Yeah.
There's no reason to not know anymore.
Yeah.
And
No.
in doing so, like say, you get a perspective shift and the whole world changes.
It does. That's why we do this show every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that little shift in perspective, how much that can impact someone.
Yes. Yes.
So
Well, I appreciate you guys. Y'all take care.
great
Well,
seeing you,
thank
Randy.
Love you, brother.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Randy.